Hello, adventuresses. So today I'm here with Heather, and I just want to make sure that Heather, we can hear you fine because I know it was cutting out a second ago. Oh, it says that your microphone isn't connected yet, Heather. So, can you hear me now? Oh gosh, I can't hear you yet. So as you can see, Heather is enjoying life on the road. So while she plays with her microphone, I just want to welcome everyone. We are live. So I still can't. Your microphone is still muted there, Heather. So I can't actually hear you. But hopefully you get that working in a second here. So yeah, we are live, and today we are talking about a very interesting topic. It's getting injured while abroad or while traveling. Let me just see if, okay. So I can still see Heather. We're having some technical difficulty. I can still see you, Heather. We just can't hear you. So while you play around with your microphone, we can't hear you. Yeah. So anyways, this is a fun discussion while Heather again tries to figure out her microphone. I'm just trying to look at the buttons because I have some controls here, but it doesn't look like there's anything I can do. So sorry, Heather. I can't help you out there. So yeah, while Heather tries and plays with her microphone, I'll just wait for a second there. So anyways, today we are discussing, or maybe I'm discussing, what do you do if you get injured while you are abroad? Okay. And I know with horses, like things happen. And sometimes when we're traveling in certain countries, like some countries, you really don't want to get injured. I mean, we never want to get injured, but some countries you're really like, I don't want to get injured here because I don't want to go to the hospital. So that is kind of what we're going to be talking about today. And I'm just checking to see if Heather's microphone is working. So Heather, can you hear me? I can't hear you, Heather. I still can't hear you. I don't know why. So Heather, if you can hear me, it says that I can't unmute you. So you have to unmute yourself somehow. But I'm just not sure how you can do that. Can't hear you, Heather. Sorry about that. So it looks like we're gonna have to say goodbye to you, Heather. Okay. So, anyways, in this topic, while again Heather tries to figure out with her microphone. So, in today's topic, I have, unfortunately, maybe fortunately for some of you, I have been hospitalized in a few countries. I've been hospitalized in Egypt, Romania, Bhutan, India, and a few places. And it's it's not something that you plan for. Some of them were horsey, some of them weren't. So, for example, in Bhutan, I actually got altitude sickness, and in Bhutan their medical so Bhutan is kind of a special country because it's landlocked, and so they kind of require that the tourists pay a high day fee in order to be in their country. And let me just see. There you are, Heather. Aha. Okay, I can definitely hear some sound, but you're breaking up a little bit. So I was just saying that, in Bhutan, I went to the hospital once for altitude sickness, and it was a very swift and easy process. I went in, the doctor threw me some medicines. There was no pharmacy involved. I just walked in, walked out. So it was very smooth in Bhutan. But yeah, most of the time that's not really as easy. So Heather, if you let me see if we can hear you first of all, and then maybe you can share a little bit about this topic.
Can you hear? Is that
no, we can't really hear you, Heather. You're breaking up still. Sorry. It doesn't seem like it's gonna work out for you today. Yeah. So, okay. Heather's internet is not working today. She is driving, as you can see. She's road tripping, and I'm a bit jealous, actually. So, in this topic of what to do if you ever get injured while abroad. Now, I think we will have to do a second video for some of Heather and Uta's stories. But as far as my own experiences, the interesting thing, because I remember my parents, they're American, and when we went, like when my mom was going to come visit me in Egypt or in different places, like that was one of the first things that she was worried about. Like, what do I do? Like, what happens if I get injured or if something bad happens? And she was really, really worried and concerned about that. And I kept trying to convince her to come and visit me. And finally, obviously she did. She came and she traveled with me in a lot of places, but it definitely took a lot of courage for her because she didn't know, she's in her mid 50s when she was traveling and visiting me, and she was really, really concerned because she did not want to have to go to the hospital in some of these places. And the reason is because she felt like maybe it wouldn't be as good, to go to a doctor in a, third world country. And in my experience, and like I said, I've been hospitalized in Romania and India and Egypt and a few places. And in my experience, actually, that's not the case. In fact, I have seen dentists, I've seen doctors, I've, had injuries where I've needed to go to the hospital, but I've also, because I'm living abroad, I've had like routine checkups and things. And in my experience, like the doctors, they're doctors. Like doctors are doctors are doctors, and they're pretty professional. So, I never really had a situation where I was, let's say, too concerned. I did have some strange situations when I was in Cairo where, they kind of needed to give me a vaccination or a shot of some kind. And they like took me into this like dark closet, and they didn't really know like if it should go in my arm or what. And I remember they actually went outside and asked, I think it was like my boss at the time, they asked him, and he's not a doctor, but they're like, yeah, are we supposed to give this in the arm? Like, how does that work? And I remember being very worried about that. So let's see again. Heather, can you hear me?
I think so. Now,
Okay, I can't. You're breaking up again, unfortunately. Bye. So thank you, Heather. Okay. So, anyways, so that was definitely a scary situation in Egypt where I was kind of like, this lady's about to like give me a vaccination, and she doesn't even know if it's supposed to go in my arm. Like that was kind of a red flag. So one of the horse related injuries that I had, actually one of the more serious injuries that I did have, was in Cairo. I actually got thrown into a jump, and the jump, when I hit it, it just it had a little piece of sharp metal hanging out. I don't know how. It was like one of those freak things, and it sliced my leg open. I'm not going to go into details, but it was bad. And so I went to the hospital in Egypt. And so this was a horse related thing. And, when I was working abroad in lots of countries, I have had situations where I've needed to go to the emergency room or the hospital or something because of an injury, or even like food poisoning in India, or, something like Delhi belly or whatever. And, it was pretty bad, and I was pretty worried. But the thing was, so, when I was in Egypt and I had to go to the hospital, I will say that they stitched me up. I had to get 32 stitches. It was a pretty big wound, and so I still have a 6-inch scar. It was pretty bad. And I remember the drive to the hospital was the most painful part. And so when all is said and done, they stitched me up and I was fine, and I moved on my day. I don't even know how much it cost because my boss paid it. But I do know that in Egypt, how it works in a lot of countries is, in America, if you need medicines or something, like you need a prescription from a doctor, as is most European countries. Well, in Egypt or in India, there is no like prescriptions. You can just go into any pharmacy and get whatever you want. Okay. And I mean, the sky is the limit. And I don't know, medications that would cost like $1,000 in the US, if you buy that same medication in Cairo or in India, it's like, $5. So, I don't know why it's that way, but things are very cheap. Okay, very cheap. You don't need prescriptions, and you can just get whatever you want. So I remember, when I had that situation and I had stitches, I personally, I'm don't really like medications at all, so I kind of refused doing any kind of medications. But the doctor visit, I mean, he stitched me up. It was a few hours I was in the hospital. And after that, he kind of sent me on my way, and that was it. And then it was the same in, several other places. You just kind of pay out of pocket, and everything is very cheap and very affordable. So unfortunately, I don't have a quote for you because I was 21 years old at the time when that happened, and I was working abroad. So, my boss at the time kind of fronted my hospital bills. But one of the things that I want to kind of share is, I think that fear and that worry of, oh no, what happens if I get hospitalized in another country? I think it's so funny that people have that fear, because a lot of the times in the US, like half of our doctors are from, Thailand or India or different places. Like America is the land of multicultural places. And so many people from so many different countries come to America in order to work as doctors and, professionals. So it's kind of funny that, for some reason, when you're in America, if you have a Thai woman who's a doctor, you don't think anything of it. But if you're sitting in Thailand, you're a little bit nervous or worried about it. So, I want to say that they were trained in their home countries, like their schools and education, like it's the same, and they had to get qualified. You can't just kind of print a diploma on the internet for certified as a surgeon. So as far as like the quality of healthcare and doctors and things, like it's very straightforward, very like easygoing process. I have so much easier time in many countries as compared to the US. So, there's certain things that if I'm visiting the US, maybe I'll go for a regular checkup or something. But the past 3 years I've been living in England or Germany or, countries where the healthcare for the citizens are like provided. So I haven't really needed to worry about that. So for you, if you are traveling, that was one of the things that I wanted to say was, don't stress about or have that fear of, oh, I can't go because what if I get injured? And then the other thing is insurance. Now, I know for some rides, for some like tours and different things, like you have to have insurance in order to prove that you can go on those rides. I had to do that when I did the Mongol Derby. I had to have some kind of travel insurance, which I had to prove to the tour organizers, like, hey, I have insurance. If something happens, it's covered. I can pay for it. And that particular race, because there are a lot of people that are like medical evacuated by helicopters during that event. I mean, that's an extreme event. So, for that one, I think I had to prove that my insurance was able to cover $10,000 or something like that. So, you need to do a little bit of research when it comes to travel insurance and figure out if they do cover you in those countries. And then of course, if horse sports are covered. So those are a few things that I would definitely recommend. And again, when it comes to a lot of places, like you can just go to the pharmacy and get your medicines or get whatever it is that you need. Some of the brands might not be the same. I know when I'm in the US, like we have different brands than in the EU and in Asia and different stuff. So I might have to kind of Google Translate, like, okay, what's the local brand for ibuprofen? But other than that, you know what? Like you can pay out of pocket. It's very cheap. So yeah. That is basically all I wanted to say today about this topic of what to do about getting injured. I think we're going to have to do another one when we have Heather and Uta. So yeah, I'm so glad that you guys were able to join me today. And if you are watching this from our YouTube channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and also like and comment down below, if you have any other questions about this topic. So that way in the next video, we can cover this a little bit more. So again, if you're just joining me live now, just kind of comment down below whatever questions that you have about this topic. And myself and our two podcast hosts, Heather and Uta, we are more than happy to answer your questions in future videos or on the podcast. So yeah, I'm super excited. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I know we had a little bit of technical difficulties in the beginning with Heather's microphone not really working out. So thank you guys so much for watching and happy trails.